And let me shock you all by saying I decided to do the March update this year. Even though I really had nothing to say, I figured it'd be nice to do an update video. When I originally planned out my year, I wasn't planning on actually going anywhere till the spring, but I lucked out. On President's Day weekend 2023, myself, Lane's Trains, Steve Insane Railfan Productions went to the Western Maryland Railroad to chase the 1309, which was still in its Chesapeake and Ohio colors from the Lerro Productions photo charters from a few weeks prior. I also ran into Notch 8 Photography, Fast Freight Productions, Brody Productions, and many other people out there. That was my first steam adventure of the year. I wasn't expecting, honestly, to go anywhere till spring, but I don't regret it because it was a fantastic time with good friends. That being said, March is looking a little quiet, but between now and Easter, I plan on shooting the New York and Lake Erie Easter trains. Haven't done that in a few years, and I've been planning the last few years and never really made it out. In addition to the New York and Lake Erie Easter trains, I never really do this. So this will be a first for an update video. After looking at the schedule and seeing all the photos from East Broad Tops, Winter Spectacular, I have to admit, I do not regret not going because I was set to see the 1309 that weekend, and I had ideas for the winter flyer that I wanted to execute, and seeing it in its Chesapeake and Ohio paint interested me more than the East Broad Top. The East Broad Top is on my radar, and it's looking like I might be able to squeeze in a trip to see some Easter trains down at the Narrow Gauge Railroad in Pennsylvania, in Orbisonia. So if all goes well, that it does work out to see the East Broad Top 16 and see narrow gauge steam for the first time since 2019. So stay tuned. Looking at the schedule and just an update of things, I'm still waiting for 765 schedule. It's definitely going to make it back down to see 1309 in the summer. I'm hoping for a Friday when they do the evening train, because I definitely want some of that evening light on the train. I actually would like to squeeze in 2102 this year. I'm not sure I'm going to. Obviously 1309 in the fall, and if 1225 runs Christmas trips this year, I will definitely be seeing that, as well as 1309, and if they do Frostburg trips again, because I've got a lot of ideas. That being said, I still plan on, my statement was even though I'm gradually coming back, I'm never going to be as active as what I once was, because that was nuts, and that was something I started in 2018, and it's great to have moderation, and it's great to, do things differently in life. Last year was a year of exploring, and I continue to explore on those traits, and maybe you'll see some videos like that here. I've got a surprise video of and other cool stuff hopefully coming in the summer, and I cannot wait to share it with you all. Anyhow, this year's March update video is going to be of me, because it's been 5 years since I went on my first photography charter. No, there will not be a best of photo charters, but there will be a best of steam on photo freights, which is going to just be my favorite clips of steam on photo freights, because it's been 5 years in March since I attended my first photo charter ever, the Southern Railway photo charter with Southern 630 and 4501 down at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. There will be a best of steam photo freights, and I am going to do a director's cut of the Southern Railway photo charter from 2018, because that was a lot of fun. So in that vein, I am now going to talk about my top 5 favorite photo charters I've been on. So as we enter the 7th year of my channel, over the past 5 years I have been to many different photo charters. Many of them have been great, some of them have been okay, but I've never actually walked away disappointed with a photo charter. Between going on Pete Laro photo charters, train magazines, Franz, and even photo specials put on by the railroad, I have been on amazing photo charters, and I'm lucky for the fact I was able to attend them. While I don't plan on attending any photo charters this year, unless the Grand Canyon Railway does one, or we'll see what happens with 1003, I felt this was now the time to talk about that. So starting off the list at number 5, my number 5 would have to be the Norfolk and Western 611 and 475 and 382, the reunion of steam photo charters at the Strasburg Railroad. While I would say the afternoon session of day 1 was actually kind of I like the lighting all day long, these photo charters were fantastic. I never thought I'd actually see 611 on a photo charter. Given the operation of the way it operated, given how NS had ended the steam program, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I'd ever actually see 611 operate again unless it was at the North Carolina Transportation Museum. But to have it only operate 5 hours away from me at the Strasburg Railroad really was a great thing. These photo charters in 2019 featured 611 on a freight and 475 on a short passenger train. I love the shots I got from this. From the sunrise glint to the double header to the long curve shots to framing it with the Amtrak train. It was freezing, but it was worth doing both days, and I wouldn't trade that again. The only disappointment was I missed 1225 on the Cadillac excursion, which I had been planning on chasing for years. My number 4 would have to be the Franz triple header charter in 2019 at Strasbourg. Being lucky enough to be invited to a Franz charter was an honor, but to do it his last one to date at Strasbourg was also an honor. Triple heading 89, 475, and 90. And even getting solo time with each engine throughout the day was fantastic. The weather was very similar to the second day of the 611 charter, and then it literally turned into an even worse rainstorm than that. Yeah, we canceled the charter an hour early, but the last run-bys were really spectacular around the long curve, as well as doing the run-by where we didn't record, because that was actually pretty cool to actually witness a train go by for the first time in years without a video camera or photo camera. I feel that day we even got locations that I have yet to actually return to at Strasbourg, which is saying something. But it was just a fantastic day. I thought each engine put on a show, and I'm glad I was able to be invited to it. My number 3 is actually 2 charters, but I grouped them together because they happened at the same time. The Lerro Productions Paramark Head 1225 and Huckleberry Railroad charters of 2019. Now, even before I got into the hobby, going back to the YouTube days of the 2000s, not the 2010s, I remember when I used to watch rail fanning videos, 734, 1293, 4449, Union Pacific 844. I remember when I used to just watch these and not really know as much about them like I do now. And the one event I do remember was how awesome things were in the summer of 2009. The 4449 came to Owasso, Michigan, not really knowing how far away it was. If there's anything I regret, I wish somehow we could have went to that train fest. Instead, we went on another vacation that summer. That was my last summer in high school. But watching the videos of the 765 photo charter there and the double header 1225 765 charter, yeah, that's one event I've always regretted, and that is one event, even though it's a pipe dream right now, I hope happens again. So when it was announced that the Pete Laro was doing a 1225 charter, I thought nothing of it and bought tickets. When I found out the day afterwards he was doing a Huckleberry charter, even though I was satisfied with the footage I got from the summer beforehand, I figured, you know what, this might be the last time I see the 464 again for a long time, and turns out it really was. The 1225 charter. The 1225 was in her C&O appearance, which is my least favorite appearance. For those who don't know, I think the engine looks better without the flying number boards. But she was in the appearance that Pete Laro prefers. That's just my assumption, because most of the charters he's done, she's looked like this. Flying number boards up, running number boards off the headlights. She literally looked like herself when she operated for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. But regardless, day one was overcast, cold. She put on a show. We were hoping for snow. It was originally supposed to be a chase charter. Then Pete called that off. However, though, a group of us did end up chasing the charter, and which was beneficial to Pete because, including myself, we were able to shuttle passengers back to Owasso who didn't sign up for the night shoot. It was a fantastic time. I got angles on that line of many different places that I wouldn't have gotten previous, and also thanks to the frequent stops, I was able to get shots that I had yet to have gotten of the engine, which was also a benefit. Day two, we had the sun, and the engine was facing in the right direction for the sun, because if you know anything, when the sun is out, it can be a little bit tricky, especially around North Pole Express season. The sun is never in your favor during North Pole Express season. It really isn't. If you watch some of my past videos, yeah, good luck. But the sun was out, the engine was facing towards Owasso instead of away from Owasso, and it made for interesting angles, such as getting the shot behind the Carland elevator, getting the curve backwards at King Road. It was just fantastic, and you know, even with just 5 coaches, the 1225 showed she could really put on a show. And I walked away from that charter quite happy. The next day, we had the Huckleberry Railroad charter. This, in my opinion, was better than the 1225 charter, but I wanted to group these together because they're both fantastic. The Huckleberry Railroad, there really isn't a whole lot to shoot. You've got the loops, you've got a bridge, you've got 2 crossings, and you've got the station. Really isn't that much access point. A lot of it's private property, and the railroad prefers people not to go back in there. For this charter, we shot all over the line. This was the definition of my book of a perfect railroad charter. we got to see places on that line that you typically don't even see. Like, I didn't even know the line was that spacious, and I rode the train. Getting to all these different locations was actually fantastic, and it was a great way to start off 2019. My number 2 photo charter would have to be the Sioux Line 1003 of 2021. It took me forever to warm up to this engine. The headlight, as many people know, I'm not the biggest fan of the 2102 because of the headlight. It was weird 425 grew on me, and it was even weirder that 1003 grew on me. I had wanted to see this engine, slowly was there, and then it worked up after seeing how this engine could work at photo charters. I heard it had a distinction of being loud. This photo charter made the 1003 my favorite Mikado over the 4501. That's saying something, because the 4501 is my favorite Mikado, until I saw 1003. Not being able to attend the charity last year was a bummer, but I'm actually hoping that I may be able to see the 1003 again this year if they do a photo charter, but we're not sure. Waiting for it to be announced. But the 1003, this charter started off with the Santa trains. There wasn't any snow on the ground, and then we got snowstorms the next day. The only complaint with this charter was the way the train was facing, and the snow really made it challenging. But my shots turned out fantastic. This was also the first time I actually shot on my photography camera in manual, because I broke the camera 2 weeks earlier and all the sensors went during the HTP charter. It took me forever to realize that. But it was almost like a Christmas wonderland a month before the Christmas time season. I spent the time with a lot of good friends, GT Rail fans, Carney Rail. There was many other people out there that weekend, I just don't remember them all. But the 1003 put on a great show, getting all the classic locations. The overcast worked in our favor. There was curves, fields, grain elevators. It was a fantastic time, and quite honestly, I can't wait till the next time I make it to Wisconsin to see the 1003. And my number 1 favorite charter should not come as a surprise to anyone. It is the Grand Canyon Railway 29 charter that Trains Magazine put on in 2019. This was the last time the Grand Canyon Railway 29 operated. Having missed the 2017 Pete Laro charter, not that it was in my budget, I always regretted not making out there for that, seeing all the shots they got. Well, the Trains Magazine one was done because 29 was going out for 1472 day. While there was discussion on the 29 charter that the crew was hoping to restore the engine, it was announced in 2020 that the engine would receive a 1472 day, and that work has since stalled, probably because of COVID and other shop projects that have taken precedence. So I really don't know the future of 29. Let's not speculate in the comment section, because anytime anything 29 is posted on my channel, there seems to be speculation. Getting every classic location on the line, -1. The 29, I will have to say, was probably the loudest oil burning engine I've heard work. A buddy of mine was telling me that. He's like, yeah, the exhaust on that thing really can talk ever since they've rebuilt it and everything else, and he wasn't kidding. Getting to see 29, getting to see the Grand Canyon was fantastic. But getting to ride behind 29 in classic Pullman coaches at speed, getting those at speed run-bys, she really put on a show. The sliding worked. It was a fantastic 2 days in Arizona, and it hands down was one of my favorite adventures. The bonus on day 2 was that 4960 showed up, only for the yard run-bys. I remember hearing something about it, but didn't actually think it would happen. And when I saw 4960 back into the station that morning, yeah. Once again, this hands down is still the best charter I've ever attended. That being said, that was my top 5 favorite photo charters that I've attended in the past 5 years. You know, that's also my March update. Hope to see you all trackside soon. And coming up, yeah, I already told you it was coming up. I'm Christian. Hope you enjoyed.